Hold a lighter next to the wall switch by your front door, not on the switch, next to it, between the plastic cover plate and the drywall. If the flame bends toward the wall, you have found $40 a month. Not a draft from a window, not a gap under the door. A hole the size of a coin behind every light switch and outlet on every exterior wall in your house. And that hole connects directly to the wall cavity, which connects directly to the air outside. Your insulation does not cover it. Your weather stripping does not touch it. It has been there since the day the electrician finished. This is part of a series on the physics of shelter. If you want us to continue this series, the button is below. Symptom 1. Cold spots on interior walls that are not near windows or doors. The common misdiagnosis: missing insulation in that section of wall. You add insulation. The cold spot remains. What is actually happening? The cold spot is not where the insulation is missing. It is where air is moving. Moving air transfers heat faster than still air, regardless of the insulation around it. A wall cavity with a small air leak at the bottom and a small air leak at the top becomes a convection loop. Cold outdoor air enters at the bottom, warms slightly as it rises through the insulation, and exits at the top. The insulation does not stop this. Insulation is designed to stop conduction and radiation. It does not stop convection through the cavity itself. The cold spot is a symptom of air movement, not insulation absence. Adding insulation to a leaking cavity reduces the cold spot marginally. Sealing the air leak eliminates it. Symptom 2. Inconsistent room temperatures throughout the house, despite having the same insulation specification everywhere. The common misdiagnosis: inadequate heating distribution, unbalanced duct system, or thermostat placement error. You adjust the thermostat. The inconsistency persists. What is actually happening? Rooms that are colder than the rest of the house typically have more exterior wall surface per interior volume, more penetrations through that wall surface, or both. A bedroom with 2 exterior walls and 3 outlets, plus 2 light switches on those walls, has 6 to 8 penetration points through the thermal envelope. A central room with no exterior walls has 0. The difference in infiltration rate between these 2 spaces is measurable. A blower door test, which pressurizes the house to 50 pascals above ambient pressure and measures the flow rate needed to maintain that pressure, will identify the leakier rooms by their relative contribution to total air leakage. In a typical wood frame cabin, electrical boxes on exterior walls account for between 15 and 25% of total air leakage measured under blower door conditions. 15 to 25%. That is not a minor source. That is roughly comparable to all the window gaps combined. Symptom 3. Condensation on interior surfaces that appear in random locations with no obvious water source. The common misdiagnosis: plumbing leak behind the wall or vapor barrier failure. You check the plumbing. You find no leak. The condensation continues. What is actually happening? The condensation is forming at the dew point surface inside the wall penetration. Cold outdoor air enters through the electrical box, travels a short distance into the warm interior air, and when the 2 air masses meet, the warm air cools below its dew point and deposits moisture. This can happen at the electrical box itself, behind the cover plate, or on the drywall surface around the perimeter of the box. This is not a plumbing problem. This is air movement through an unsealed penetration bringing cold, sometimes moisture-laden air into direct contact with a warm interior surface. The diagnosis. These 3 symptoms, cold spots without missing insulation, temperature inconsistency between rooms, and random condensation, have the same root cause. The electrical and mechanical penetrations through the exterior walls were installed without air sealing, and no one subsequently sealed them. This is not an oversight on the part of any individual tradesperson. It is a systematic gap between trades. The electrician's scope is wiring and box installation. The scope does not include air sealing around the box. The insulator's scope is filling the wall cavity with insulation material. It does not include sealing the boxes. The drywaller covers the wall surface. The penetrations remain open behind the cover plates. Every trade does its job. The gaps are between the jobs. The Department of Energy estimates that in a typical American wood frame house, infiltration through all sources, including electrical boxes, plumbing penetrations, attic bypasses, and rim joists, accounts for 25 to 40% of annual heating and cooling load. That percentage is not spread evenly across all penetrations. In a weather-stripped house with sealed windows and doors, the electrical boxes may represent the majority of remaining infiltration. $40 a month assumes an average cabin with 6 to 10 electrical boxes on exterior walls in a climate zone 5 location, heating with propane or electric resistance at current rates. The number is a range, not a fixed value. Some buildings lose $20. Some lose $60. The variable is the number of unsealed boxes, the air pressure difference across the wall, and the cost of your heating fuel. The order of intervention. Start with a candle or a lighter, not a blower door. You do not need pressurized testing to find these leaks. Walk each exterior wall in winter with a candle or a lighter held near every electrical box and outlet. Air movement will deflect the flame. Mark the boxes that show movement. Then remove the cover plate. Remove only the cover plate, not the outlet or switch itself. Electrical code does not require any change to the wiring for what comes next. Behind the cover plate, around the perimeter of the electrical box, there is a gap between the box and the drywall, and another gap between the back of the box and the exterior sheathing. Both gaps communicate with the wall cavity. The fix uses foam gaskets, pre-cut foam insulation pads that fit behind the cover plate and seal the perimeter gap. They cost approximately $3 for a pack of 6. They do not require tools. They do not require removing the outlet or touching any wiring. They address the air leakage at the interior face of the box. For the more significant air path between the back of the box and the sheathing, the fix requires injecting a small amount of low-expansion spray foam around the perimeter of the box from inside the wall. This requires removing the cover plate and working carefully around the wiring, but it does not require an electrician. The foam seal at the back of the box closes the direct connection between the wall cavity and the exterior. Total material cost for both fixes on 10 boxes, under $25. Total time, 2 hours. The Department of Energy's Weatherization Assistance Program, which has funded residential air sealing work in low-income housing since 1976, identifies electrical box sealing as one of the highest return on investment weatherization measures available, precisely because the material cost is nearly zero relative to the energy savings it produces. You have been looking at your insulation as the primary defense of your thermal envelope. It is not. Insulation fills cavities. Air sealing closes paths. These are different mechanisms applied to different problems. A fully insulated wall with an unsealed electrical box loses more energy through that box on a cold night than through the surrounding insulated cavity. The box is the weak point. Not because it is poorly made, because no one's job description included sealing it. That lighter by the front door switch, if the flame bent, you just found the most cost-effective improvement you can make to your heating bill this winter. It is not a window. It is not a door. It is not missing insulation. It is a hole the size of a coin behind a cover plate, and it has been open since the day the electrician left. That cover plate you removed to check the box, put it back differently. Put the foam gasket behind it first. 2 minutes. $3. The draft you felt this morning will not be there tomorrow. The fix was always there. You just couldn't see it. If you hold a lighter next to an exterior wall outlet right now, does the flame move? Tell me which room it is in.